Welcome back to the Lap by Lap podcast. I'm your host, Ethan White. I'm research and sustainability engineer for Ecolyte. So, we're going to be doing the post race review for Saudi Arabia. All in all, I think it was a pretty interesting race at the start, however, it kind of tuned down at the end. Obviously, quite a big highlight for this race was obviously Oliver Behrman taking the seat of Carlos Sainz as he had appendicitis and he had to get surgery. So a fantastic, I think, first race for him. Obviously, he missed out on FP1 and FP2, the two practice sessions on the Friday, on the Saturday, the Thursday, sorry. And then he was in the car on Friday, so it must have been like a very shock. I mean, a very tough corner, tough track, a lot of high speed corners, very hard on the neck. I mean, if you compare his F2 car to probably the F1 car, it's probably night and day difference. We obviously he this must have been like quite an achievement for him. I mean, he's the third youngest driver to debut in F1. Before and the youngest would have been Max Verstappen and Lance Stroll, both 17 years old when debuting in F1. So third youngest. He's one of the youngest to debut at Ferrari. Quite an achievement for him, I think. Honestly, I mean, yeah, he off qualifying P11 and then moving up to P7 in a race. I definitely shows that he is driver F1 driver material, maybe even world champion material. I mean, because this is no easy feat, especially at Saudi Arabia. Minimal practice. I mean, he obviously had the race at F2 where he got pole at the race. However, as I said, the F2 car and the F1 cars are very much different. Oliver wouldn't have been able to get the right, maybe get the setup fine tuned to his liking. So yeah, next thing we have is, or next thing we can talk about is Lando Norris's jump start at the race. Some say it's a jump start, some say it isn't. Um, it's a very difficult decision, I must say, because what happened is, from what I saw, it looks like Lando jump started, but then he immediately stopped. So do have sensors in each grid position, and they do allow for a certain leniency of the car moving. So obviously he was within that limit. George Russell called him out on it. So some people might be mad of the call. I mean, this definitely has been seen before. I think it was by Sebastian Vettel at one point. I think it was where he did a similar thing and he didn't get penalized, and it was also like brought into question by FIA. However, I think it's fine as long as he didn't gain like a large advantage. Like he jump started, but he did stop. So he didn't really gain any real advantage from it. We have Gasly losing his gears. I mean, further adding to Alpine's disappointing year so far. For people that don't know, I mean, Alpine had a quite a shocking qualifying in Bahrain. So, I mean, this Gasly being out of the race, DNFing due to a mechanical issue, just further adds salt into this wound. I mean, they have a lot of executive engineers leaving as well, so it's honestly getting worse and worse for Alpine in my opinion. Even with the amount of investment that they've had, I know they've got quite a bit of celebrities investing into them. I think one of them is Ryan, the Deadpool guy, Ryan Reynolds. So it's definitely they definitely have investment. I just don't know or they definitely have capital, but I don't know what they're doing with that. We had Lance Stroll's crash. I mean, if you didn't have to see it, quite a violent crash. It was a quick left-hander. Lance snipped the corner, and he just went straight on. So definitely very scary for Lance, but thankfully he was okay. Um, Next thing we have to talk about is obviously the winner, Max Verstappen, coming first. Next was Sergio Perez. Third was Charles Leclerc. So then we have Oscar Piastri. One thing about Oscar Piastri, he was behind Lewis Hamilton for about 20 laps. There was a safety car after launch crashed, and as I said, there's a safety car. So I think it was Lewis and I want to say it was Lando that stayed out on track. However, yeah. So then obviously Oscar had the newer tires, but Lewis didn't. But Lewis was able to keep Piastri behind for I think it was about 20 laps. It definitely, and the only reason was this is because the Mercedes had the better straight line speed. So that's definitely something maybe McLaren need to work on. I mean, they obviously finishing P4 in front of Lewis, still very good, but I mean, having newer tires and still falling behind is quite I wouldn't say it's embarrassing, but it's something that they'll definitely have to view. There's also a record that was set this weekend. It was like first time in four British drivers were in the top 10 since like 2010, where it was like, I think it was like Jenson Button, Lewis Hamilton. I don't know all the rest, but all in all, I think it was a alright weekend. I think a great weekend for Oliver Behrman, as I said, proving himself. I mean, this guy is also has his reserve driver, Ferrari's reserve driver. So, I mean, definitely seeing this results, it can definitely it's good to put on his CV if he wants to apply for other teams. I mean, we also have to take into consideration this could be like another Nick De Vries. Even just as a reminder, Nick De Vries was a F1 driver last season. He only got his season at AlphaTauri due to Alex Albon getting appendicitis. Then Nick De Vries filled in for him at the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. He did very well. He got points in the Williams, which is very impressive. However, Nick De Vries just couldn't perform in the AlphaTauri. So this could just be like another scenario. Obviously, Alex and Carlos both had appendicitis. Both needed surgery. Both were out of for the race. They had their reserve drivers fill in, and they did really good results. But I think the difference between Oliver Berman and Nick De Vries is Nick De Vries was quite old when he filled in. He was in his I think he was as old as Max, so about 28. Nick De Vries obviously being Formula 2 champion and Formula E champion. However, that just didn't translate into F1. So unlucky for him, I guess. But um, yeah, and that's it from me, guys. Thank you for listening, and I hope you all have a great day.